Hello, everyone. Needless to say, it's an honor to be here in the second edition of our EFLtalks. I was in the first as well, and I overplanned. I think I had too many slides, and I ended up having to rush through in the end. Yeah, I'm sorry about the light. If I turn it off, you can't see me. So I think we're just gonna. It's just I'm an angel. So there's this halo over my head. All right. Okay. So then the question that I got was, how important is it to speak perfectly as a teacher? Well, hang on, let me see if I can move the slides here. Yes. So first of all, I take issue a little bit with the word perfect. I don't think I don't think that exists. I don't think that's even possible. We have some pretty terrific, educated native speakers speaking here today, and I don't think they speak perfect English. I don't speak perfect Portuguese. I don't write perfect Portuguese, and that's my first language. So I don't think it's impossible. I don't think that happens. I don't think that exists, right? So what I did is I changed the question a little bit. I didn't ask Rob if I was allowed to do that because I was afraid he was going to say no. So I just preferred not to ask him. Sorry, Rob. There is a little problem because I forgot here on Wiz IQ, I wouldn't be able to. Yeah, it was Rob, I think. Sorry, Rob. I disconnected the phone, of course. So what I did is my next slide, the next slide I'm going to show you, there were three things that were supposed to happen. So first I was going to show you a question, then another question, and then a picture on top of the question. And it's not going to be possible. So what you're going to see is not going to make much sense, but I will explain. Right. Hell yeah, now you're talking. It doesn't make any sense, but I'll agree. I'll explain it to you. So the first question is going to be, how important is it to be proficient as a teacher? So that was the first one. And then the second question that was going to appear was, is your English good enough? I think this is a very important question. And the question of proficiency also is. Yeah, there's no perfect, but there's very good. There is, I think, proficient. And yes, then I do think that this is where we all should be as teachers of English. Okay? Hope you agree with that. I think the level of English of a teacher is extremely important. Not only non-native English-speaking teachers, native-speaking teachers as well, but I am talking specifically about nests and non-native English-speaking teachers like myself. By the way, I didn't say it in the beginning, but I am Brazilian and I'm from São Paulo. Yeah? I'm speaking from São Paulo today. All right, so Macmillan Dictionary brings this as a definition for proficient. So having a high level of ability or skill in something. So this is what I think we should be aiming at. Yeah, proficiency. Yeah, sorry, the meme is quite famous, isn't it? Thank you. Well, thanks for the perfect. I don't think so, and I study very much, and I think that we as non-native, well, actually we as teachers of English, we as teachers of everything, we have to study our subject matter as much as humanly possible. And unfortunately, I see there is a problem language-wise in ELT. I think we have. Certainly it is the case here in Brazil, but it is the case in many countries I've been fortunate to visit, that teachers have sometimes a language issue. The teachers have difficulty to get their points across in English. Teachers have difficulty with some areas of grammar. Teachers have a lot of difficulty with teaching pronunciation and with understanding pronunciation. So I really think that we need to talk about that more. Here's a quote by Peter. I can't pronounce his last name, and I had promised myself I was going to learn to pronounce his last name for this talk because I keep quoting him. And so anyway, he says, the only way we nests non-native English-speaking teachers can command more respect is through mastery of the English language. An EFL teacher with faulty English may be compared to a music teacher who can play on musical instruments, sings out of tune, or a gym teacher who's grossly overweight. That's a bit strong and too clumsy to catch a ball. For nests to be effective, self-confident, satisfied professionals, first we have to be near native speakers of English. After all, throughout our career, this is the subject and language of most of our professional endeavors. Right. Yes, faulty English. I think that what he means by that is, I don't know if you are familiar with the situation, specifically here in Brazil where I teach. But we study English in regular school, in mainstream education for 8-9 years, and our teachers don't speak English, and at the end of school, we don't speak English at all. We can't read in English. I mean, we basically study the verb to be for 9 years, and we don't even know the verb to be at the end of that. So there is a very serious language issue, language problem among teachers in Brazil, and I know that that is the case in several other countries as well. And according to George Brain, I think it is, over 80% of teachers in the world are nests, are non-native speakers. So why is it that we don't talk about that more often? We need to talk more about that. I know, only 4 minutes, okay. Moving on. So I agree with Mr. M, even though I can't pronounce his last name, and although I think some of the things he says might be a bit harsh, but I absolutely agree with him. We need to talk about the issue of language more, and we don't. Yeah? And this doesn't help. I have been studying this and writing about this and thinking about this for many years, and I've pestered several people about that. So I've written emails to famous course book writers, Medgees or Medgees. Anyway, now is not the time to learn. I have about 3 minutes. So you see here, I'm not going to read what these writers have told me, but you can see that, for example, this one, the last one. I think non-native speaker language teachers ideally should have a certain level on IELTS or TOEFL. I'm sorry, but certain level doesn't help anyone. Yeah? Or Cambridge exams. Okay, which Cambridge exam? Is it PAT? Is it CAE? Is it CPE? I mean, what is it? Yeah? So I think that by not talking about that, we're doing everyone a great disservice. We're not helping anyone. Yes, we nests have a language issue. We have to study more English, and we don't talk about that enough. There is one professional, however, one person, I don't know, quickly. IEFL last year had 5 plenary speakers. I was there. Only one of them, Dr. Harry Kucha, the last one, was a non-native English-speaking teacher. And I don't know much about Dr. Harry, honestly, but there's one thing I know, is that he's proficient. So he managed. He was there. He was one of the 5 plenary speakers, but he's a proficient speaker of English. Yeah. And this year we are going to have Silvana Richardson. I love her. I don't know her. I haven't met her yet, and I'm not going to IEFL this year, which is a pity. But she is fantastic. She's the only person I know in the area who is really talking about that. So you see here, she says, in many places in the world, demand for language teachers much outweighs supply. So you're in a situation where you're so desperate, you want someone who knows a bit of English, and in a way, because this situation is so widespread, it becomes the norm. And when something becomes the norm, it's what we do, it's acceptable, and becomes the standard. Then, she also says this, I'm not going to read all that, but just this part, we should clearly state what the minimum proficiencies or competencies required are for professional teachers to teach English as a foreign language. And until you get there, it's all about language improvement. I wrote a book about that in Brazil, and when I pitched the idea to the publisher, they were interested. They were very interested. They were very nice about the whole thing. They published the book. See a couple of pictures here on the slide. But in my original idea, this book was going to be written in English. And then what they told me is, look, there are many teachers in Brazil that would never buy a book that was written in English, simply because they can't understand it. Or I think, even worse, because they think they can't understand it. Yeah. So I really think that this is very serious, and I hope that you will all help me perhaps one day live in a world where books for English language teachers will be written in English. All right. Thank you all very much. That's it, Rob. You can interrupt me now. This is my email address. If you want to talk a little bit more about this, you can email me. And this is my Facebook page for the book, where we discuss English, pretty much. So thank you, Rob. Thank you, everyone. And have a great Saturday.